So welcome everybody to our Friday class. And today's topic is embracing the lunar eclipse in Pisces, which is on its way. And we are already feeling it because remember with astrology, although some things happen like right at the moment of exactness, many events, and certainly the emotional quality related to an event, begins in advance. And with eclipse season, I would say most of us start feeling the eclipses if they are affecting us strongly. We start feeling them a month or two ahead. At least we know what issues we're grappling with or what fears we have that are being activated by the eclipse. And then we have the actual eclipses, and the effects are activated and will play out for many months to come. Some people will say for every minute that the eclipse is, in its process, because there's the beginning of the eclipse and the culmination of it, that for every minute of the eclipse, we have the effect of it for that many months. And, that means that we're having waves of eclipses. And what eclipses do is they activate, in my mind, because eclipses take place, they're new moons and full moons that take place near the lunar nodes, which are about karma and fate. The eclipse is activating your fate. It's activating the choices you need to make to be in alignment with your true soul path. And if you're ready for that, it's magical and things just fall into place. And if something has to be released, it will often be released quickly. Maybe it's uncomfortable. Maybe it's the end of a relationship or being laid off from a job. But in eclipse season, usually the replacement, the thing that is supposed to happen, will happen rather rapidly. At least that's been my experience in my own life and working with people. So knowing what the issues are, like knowing what's happening in your own chart and where the eclipses are and what the highest and best outcome would be, and holding that vision and working toward it, taking steps toward it. These are the things that help us with an eclipse. Often when people are challenged by eclipses, it's because of the fear of letting go. And, sometimes I know some eclipse events, depending on your chart, can be great losses that, there's no way that you are likely to find peace and ease with that, then might rail against the thought that it's moving you toward your higher destiny or soul path. But just as much as possible, taking the spiritual view of what is asked of you in an eclipse will help you navigate it more fully. Now here's the chart for the eclipse, and it is September 7th, and today as we speak, we're at September 5th. So this is on Sunday, 2:09 p.m. afternoon Eastern time. That is 11:09 Pacific, where many of us are, earlier in Hawaii, later in Europe and such. So, knowing when that is, and perhaps, doing some meditation just before it and into the duringness of it can be very, very helpful. You can see that the degrees, this is the address of it, 15 degrees and 22 minutes of Virgo, right in the very middle. We will call it a Pisces eclipse because the moon is in Pisces, but the sun is in Virgo. And, this is the time of the year when our eclipse season is firmly rooted in Virgo energy, because the new moon, the solar eclipse, are in the sign of Virgo. So we're very attuned to making the choices that are Virgo in nature, to be discerning and skillful, and we'll go into all the details, and to, realize that we're at a place of completion, of culmination of something, that we either know that we finished something and we're letting it go, it's done, or we're stopping and we're resting and we're saying, okay, I've done this much so far, honoring ourselves for what we have done, and then, going on the next leg of the journey. It's important to note that we have Mercury, which is the ruler of the sign of Virgo, conjunct the sun. So there's extra emphasis on how we're thinking and how we're communicating, how we're using that mental quality of data collection, synthesis, communication, and in Virgo in a skillful way. The Mercury is close enough to the sun that traditional astrologers might say that the sun is sort of burning up Mercury. It's not as empowered. But how I think of it myself is that the sun uses Mercury's energy for its own goal. And maybe that makes you feel like the mind is not as independent. But remember, the mind analyzes things. Mercury analyzes and figures things out. And the sun, as the CEO of the chart, makes choices. And if the sun is using Mercury's energy, from my perspective, the sun is using skillful and analytical quality to make good choices. And because the sun is at the south node, we get this reverse process around the eclipse, where the south node says we're letting go of Virgo qualities that don't serve us, but the sun in the eclipse says that we are emphasizing positive Virgo qualities. So we'll see with this eclipse that overall it is about balance. We're letting go of Pisces qualities that don't serve us, that are old and tired and keeping us in overwhelm and martyrdom. But we are also focusing on the positive of Pisces, of surrendering and trusting, of seeing that big spiritual picture. And we're also looking at Saturn. And Saturn, always the part of us that is building a new structure that aligns with our soul. And with Saturn in Pisces, which it's been in Pisces since the spring of 2023, so that's, almost 2.5 years already. And it had edged into Aries, you remember, and now it's come back and it's in Pisces. And we're doing the extra finishing cleanup work of being mature and serious about all things Pisces in our life and in that part of your chart, wherever Pisces is. And so that will be your spirituality, your intuition, your compassion, your creativity. Okay? So just know that you've got a few more months here. Saturn will stay in Pisces retrograde, then go forward, and it doesn't go back into Aries again until February 20th, when it joins with Neptune and launches this new period. But we are in, on the Pisces level, there's a lot for each one of us to connect in with and make sure we are in alignment with our highest spiritual nature. And we're not falling into overwhelm and delusion and illusions and dependencies. Now, the other important aspect in this eclipse is Jupiter. And you can see Jupiter over here at 19 Cancer. It's in a trine to the north node, sextile to the south node. This means that it's what I call a false friend. It can either keep us stuck in the south node Virgo, habit patterns, or it can help us get to the north node. So Jupiter represents the seeking of belief, truth, and meaning. It expands what we know. We expand by high-level learning, by international travel, by exposing ourselves to different cultures and people. So we can do that in a way that it makes us smaller, more afraid, right? Cancer can want to be more insular and introverted, and can keep us in Virgo patterns where we're worried and analytical, or it can open up our hearts and have us be full and expand our worldview and our spiritual views, because Jupiter has a lot to do with religions, beliefs, philosophies. They can expand what we know and let that Pisces expression be even greater, even more amazing. And then we have a quincunx between Venus and the North Node. And quincunxes to the nodes usually engender shocking and changeable situations where the two pieces, the planet and the part of the nodes that it's going to, where they just can't be in the same room at the same time. So Venus and Leo attracts and stabilizes relationships and resources in an abundant, fiery, beautiful, dramatic, spectacular way. And the North Node in Pisces surrenders and trust in the bliss of the cosmos. It's quiet, it's skillful, it's of service. Um, you know, this Pisces energy asks us to be very aware of who we are as the oneness of all things, all consciousness, all people, the whole earth. And Venus in Leo is so personal. So from the impersonal to the personal, they can't really be in the same room at the same time. And so we're being asked as this eclipse happens to honor both sides of that, to honor deeply our personal self, but also to keep surrendering into this higher frequency. Now, just a little reminder of some familiar slides, but this helps bring these words into you. Remember, the sun is always about personal power and your self-image. Your vitality is connected to the sun, as well as the rising sign. Self-esteem, you're building self-esteem as you operate from the higher frequencies of your sun's sign. You could think of the sun as your conscious mind and your conscious ego. And as I always say, the CEO of the chart. When your sun is operational to its best ability in the sign it's in, activating the house that it's placed in, you will be that CEO. You will make good choices. You will have your willpower and you will manifest your intention. So we all have our sun in a particular sign that we're learning about in this incarnation, as opposed to the South Node, where we've well learned all the qualities of that sign and we're grappling with some of the leftover habit patterns that don't serve us anymore. But we give our South Node qualities to the world. And it's really part of our spiritual path to do so. The moon, on the other hand, is fundamentally describing the way we nurture others and the way we wish to be nurtured. It shows us our capacity for feelings and love, our instinctual mood and memory, everything about the subconscious, the deep, the quiet, our emotional habit patterns. Often we think of it as the past, very connected to our intuition. Before we discovered Neptune, moon was what signified if a person was psychic or not. I think of the moon sometimes as the emissary of the heart and soul. And through feeding our moon, we feel more in alignment with our soul self and certainly with our emotional self. And part of that is connected to family, to our mothers, to ourselves as mothers, to our children, to the people we nurture, even if they're not birth children. That includes our animals and birds. You know, everything that we nurture is very, very connected to the moon. Now, Virgo, okay, and this is where we have the sun in this lunar eclipse, at its highest levels, draws us to be humble and devoted, devotional, to be of service and skillful, it's very healing, efficient, and effective. It might be just in the average quality, which is great, of being a hard worker and discerning and analytical, being a problem solver and organized, so those are all great qualities. But we do have to attend to when we're becoming too critical and picky, anxious and worried. And that is the message of the South Node as it's been moving through Virgo in our charts. Started at the beginning of this year and goes to the middle of next year. So we can be very self-sabotaging and feel incompetent if that Virgo is holding us stuck and not letting us, be in that higher frequency. And then, of course, Pisces, taking us to that place of oneness and bliss, uh, embodying our compassion and imagination. Pisces represents all things mystical, the transcendent creativity that we can do ourselves or enjoy the fruits of others. We have ego dissolution with Pisces, and that's a good thing, but we have to have an ego to start with that's decently formed. If we don't have enough of an ego and we think we're giving our ego up to be more Pisces, then that's when we start merging and dissolving and becoming overwhelmed and moving into some of these qualities here on the other side, where we are a victim and a martyr, and we're overwhelmed by our losses. And the level of deception, it's not always direct lying, it's often with shadowy Pisces that a person doesn't even know what the truth is and is in their own delusions and confusion. We can have our nervous system and our immune systems affected when our Pisces is not well tended for. And because Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011 and is just moving into Aries, um, Neptune, how do I want to say this to not be confusing? Because Neptune is, by the way, still in Aries, but very soon it's going to be back in Pisces too. So Neptune disposits the moon in Pisces in this eclipse. And it's very strong. Neptune all along since 2011 has been super strong while it's been in Pisces. While it is in Aries, I think most of us are feeling a little bit of a lightening up. It's not so overwhelming, but it is the Neptune that is currently in Aries that disposits this moon in the eclipse. So there's a little bit of new information coming, I think, to help us with Pisces energy as we're moving forward, that we finished a long lesson period since 2011, and we are coming into, a time when we're asked to take action, to get ourselves a little bit out of this creative, imaginative, spiritual realm and be courageous and brave and do what's needed to ground all these high frequency qualities of Pisces in our personal lives and in the world in general. So this marks the completion slide. And what I'm going to do now is lead you into a meditation to connect in with the Pisces yourself and the Pisces eclipse. And then I think we'll still have a little bit of time at the end to look at a few charts of people who are here. So let me stop this share. You can come into this meditation by closing your eyes and bringing your body to a comfortable position. And as you breathe, taking slow, mindful breaths, feel into the physical body and notice, how does your body feel right now? To some extent, this is Virgo, discerning, breathing from the toes, the fingers to the head. Going deeper and deeper with every breath. And as you breathe into the body, you might ask yourself, what does the body need right now? What does the body tell you around holistic care, rest, diet, exercise, dentist trip? And just be with the body for a moment. And then as you go deeper and deeper still, call on the highest level spirit guides, healers that work with you. And imagine that they are surrounding you and pouring light into the crown of your head, filling you up with beautiful color, bright, several colors. The light swirling around the outside of your body as well. And begin to feel that you're surrounded in this beautiful bubble of light, light inside you and around you. And allow yourself to float through time and space to a beautiful place with water, comfortable, inviting water, a pool, a pond, a lake, or a gentle ocean, whatever kind of water you'd like to be near. Feeling the ground beneath your feet, noticing the colors and shapes of nature all around. Perhaps inhaling and noticing the scent in the air, or hearing the sounds of nature in the background. Now, the first thing we're going to do here is a Virgo cleanse. I'm going to ask you to feel into your energy field and notice where you have cords in you from people or from perfectionistic ideas you have, from habit patterns where you do the same thing all the time. And in some way, it may look psychically or feel psychically like you're like a maypole with all these ribbons of energy streaming from you to people and tasks, worries and anxieties. These ribbons can represent anything that you're ready to let go of. And so one by one, let yourself simply know intuitively what these ribbons and ropes are, and pull it out and either send it back to who sent it to you or throw it in the psychic trash bin. We'll take a couple of minutes here to feel into all the ways you've allowed yourself to be trapped into repetitive service, obligations and duties that no longer serve you. And you may notice there's some obligations, there's some service that feels exactly right. And you can leave that ribbon in or replace it. Replace the cord with a different kind of cord. So use your creative imagination here to free yourself from the bonds that are over and done. Now, imagine that you're getting into the water for the Pisces side of this lunar eclipse. And you're stepping into the most beautiful, gorgeous water you can imagine. Perfect temperature for you, perfect amount of water, the way you like it. And feel yourself effortless, sitting, floating, relaxing. Imagine all of the people in the world, possibly in water at the same time, surrendering to highest consciousness, being part of nature. Trusting the soul path. Letting go of excess striving. Honoring yourself for what you've already accomplished. And now stepping out of the water, knowing you can always come back, releasing cords or being in water. And as you're drying off, feeling the power of the sun's golden light fill you up. Take a moment to imagine there's like a scale in front of you, an old-fashioned scale where there's two sides. And on one side, you can imagine Virgo service, skillful, detailed, tangible in the world, being of service to friends, family, nature, community, organizations, politics, whatever it is that you feel attuned with and drawn to. Imagine that's one side of the scale. And on the other side of the scale, you have the service of Pisces. You have that Just being is enough. Being in meditation is fabulous. Being in nature is a spiritual act. And feel that side of service. And all of those qualities. And as you sit here in your nature place and you see on one side tangible, physical, worldly service and devotion, and on the other side, spiritual, energetic, high frequency service and devotion. And see if you can create a balance between the two sides. Your personal embodied lunar eclipse. Holding this intention to let go of the unnecessary details and to be in your soul-centered sense of self. Then gently drawing this whole beautiful scene inside your heart or other safe place, and feel yourself floating back to your body. And as you ground and land in the body, breathe into the heart and hold the intention that you continue to gain insight from now and through this lunar eclipse, finding elegant completion and being ready for the next new start. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.